Hi, I am Jayant Sharma, and in this video, let's learn about ISO. So far, in the process of exposure, light has made its journey through the aperture of the lens and then through the shutter in the camera and reached the sensor in this course. Now, how much of this light is absorbed by the sensor is what we call sensitivity. The higher the sensitivity is set to, the more the light captured by the sensor. The sensor achieves this by amplifying the electrical signals before converting them into digital information of the image. But this also comes with a catch: image noise. To draw an analogy, if you take a very basic music player, it seems fine at low volumes, but if you increase its output volume significantly or to its maximum, along with the music, you also hear noise. This is because of excessive amplification of the sound without the necessary hardware to support it. Image noise is simply the visual version of this sound noise. Whereas if you use a better music player, it will support a higher volume of playback without as much noise as the more basic player. This is why a larger format camera, due to its larger sensor, performs better at higher sensitivities and is an asset for low light photography. But what does this noise look like? Noise in images is grain, either colorless or of multiple colors, that is particularly acute in darkly lit or dark colored areas of your image. This also leads to loss of sharpness and compromise in exposure. This is why you should shoot at the lowest sensitivity possible in any situation. Sensitivity is specified in numbers benchmarked and standardized by the International Standards Organization, ISO in short, which is why sensitivity also is referred to as ISO sensitivity. To calculate one stop higher or lower ISO, simply double or halve the number respectively. Take a look at these two images of the same scene, shot at two different sensitivities. The image on the left was shot at 200 ISO and the one on the right was shot at 3200. You can clearly see more noise, lesser color saturation, and generally lower image quality in the 3200 ISO image. So what's the use of higher ISOs given these compromises? When you're shooting in low light conditions where it's not possible to use fast shutter speeds and get an accurate exposure, it becomes inevitable to use a higher ISO to make up for the lack of light, since using a slower shutter speed to make up for the lack of light will entail a risk of blurring the image, as we saw in the shutter speed video. And it's better to get an image with noise than an image with blur, because noise can be reduced in post-production software, whereas blur cannot be fixed. Okay, it's exercise time now. In the aperture mode of your camera, take a picture at every setting of ISO sensitivity available in your camera and study the results to see at which setting the amount of noise becomes unacceptable to you. You can then remember that setting as the limit beyond which you'd like to avoid increasing the sensitivity. Alright, let's summarize. The sensitivity of the sensor is simply the amount of light absorbed by the sensor. It is specified in ISO ratings. Doubling or halving the number gives you one stop lower or higher sensitivity. The higher the sensitivity, the more the light captured and vice versa, but the higher the sensitivity, the higher also the noise. It's best to shoot at the lowest ISO possible in any given situation. Well, that's all about ISOs then. I hope you have a good understanding of the exposure triangle now. Up next is a video on exposure program modes. I'll see you there.